Hello and welcome to Mosaic. And today our topic is AI, artificial intelligence. And we have a very special guest. She even told me that AI can hallucinate. Isn't that interesting? Where are we today with AI? And how much should we know? And how fast should we get into the movement? Now joining us is our guest, Waheeda Abdulaziz Saeed, and she has been in the education sector for about 20 years in the US as well as in GCC countries, global organizations, and she's now here in the Sultanate of Oman with Ahmed bin Majid International School, and she's also the CEO of the Training Institute, Resilience Training and Consultancy USA. Welcome to Oman Observer.
Thank you. Thank you for this opportunity.
Thank you. And this is indeed a remarkable topic. Everyone's talking about it. We've had a major conference in Oman, and we are, as of this week, too, continuing in Sultan Qaboos University as well as in the region.
Yes.
And AI, what does it mean to you?
AI is really moving forward. It's the future. It's actually not the future anymore. It's here.
Here.
It's basically, similar to any daily item that we use. For example, when we go into the kitchen, are we surprised to see a refrigerator or oven or microwave? No.
Yeah.
And AI is now part of our life, just as that. Really, AI is going to mold, the way we're moving forward and how we are looking at our societies, at our relationships. So AI is really becoming part of our life.
The only thing what worries me
Yes.
is the refrigerator is not recording what I've put inside.
Yes.
Microwave is not looking at my recipes or how many times I've failed. But AI is keeping a record.
Definitely. And that's why we have to be very, very cautious. As you mentioned, AI can hallucinate. AI is a generative model. So it basically, AI gets its information from us. So whatever is fed into AI, and it's basically collective knowledge. So all the knowledge that information that's input into AI becomes collective knowledge, and it takes that knowledge and generates knowledge from that. So it's very important for us to be careful on what information is also added. So, for example, if you have any data privacy issues or any information or documents that are very critical for your institution, it's very important not to enter all of that into AI platforms. For example, ChatGPT or whatever tool you're using, because once it's in there, it becomes part of AI.
And it is for anybody else who's looking for a topic.
Yes.
And all your details could be popping up.
Yes, it could be. And AI will use that information to
For somebody
generate
else.
answers for others. You see? And so this is very critical. So data privacy is actually one of the major concerns in terms of AI and in terms of, as we're moving forward, how to govern it or regulate it.
There was a time when we were worried about students. Now, you being in a school environment, when they develop projects, we were worried, will they take assistance of the AI?
Yes.
But now the concern is how much should they be trained on AI, because that's the only way forward.
Definitely. I think the concern now is really not should they use it, but how are they using it? And by using AI and just copy pasting, one of the other challenges is critical thinking deterioration. So we want to keep our students' critical thinking skills active, and we want their growth mindset to keep developing. But if they're using AI in just information retrieval, then over time we will have an issue with critical thinking skills. So it's very important to guide students that AI should be used as a tool.
Actually, I want to just interrupt in and say we've already lost skills on writing, handwriting, for example.
Yes.
It's almost a lost talent.
Yes.
Now it's more of texting. And now when you think about it, you're saying critical thinking. That really makes us a totally different being altogether, because these are our special skills.
Yes, definitely. And that's where the education system has a big role. And that's where authentic learning and authentic education comes in. If we depend totally on AI and we depend totally on technology, we're losing that authenticity of education. The experiences that students have, cultural experiences, wisdom, empathy, these things cannot be taught by AI. So our role for students is how to use AI to accelerate learning, but not be the sole source of information or learning.
Right, right. Would you then say, because in our earlier discussion, you're telling us how there is a bit of a danger when it comes of feeding information into AI. It knows only what we give, and then it becomes the boss in a short while. So you were saying the biased views, for example.
Yes. So another major challenge or concern is that over time, we could have inequality and a bias being created with AI. Because, for example, if you have high-tech cities where people use AI and they're inputting a lot of information into AI, and compare that to, let's say, villages around the world who don't have that opportunity, or they're not inputting their biases or their information into the AI. Over time, AI only has the information that it's received, right? And so a bias is eventually created in that sense. Also, maybe high economic areas compared to areas that have low funding to support AI. There would be a bias created there as well. And so very important for us to understand what information we are receiving and what has actually been input into the AI to generate that.
For your school, what are the steps you're taking for the transformation?
Excellent question. We're in the middle right now. We're approaching it through a couple of phases. The first phase is awareness. We need to understand AI. We're treating AI as an entity or a person, where we need to develop a relationship with AI. AI is dynamic. It's changing every day. We need to understand AI. So we are right now in the awareness phase. During this awareness phase, we have undergone a needs assessment with our different departments on AI readiness. We have trained some of our leadership in terms of AI and what is AI. We're engaging in several workshops and conferences, for example, the Oman AI Summit. Just today, we have a team going to Dubai for the Global AI Conference as well. And so last week, we had experts from the industry come and talk about AI and the future and AI and humanity to our students from grade 7 to 12. So right now we're in the awareness phase. The next step will then be developing a framework of governance on how to utilize the AI tools within a framework to make it effective and to consider these biases, to consider data privacy, what is acceptable, what needs to be reviewed in terms of how students use it, how teachers use it. Again, I don't want to be pessimistic. We want to be optimistic. For example, you could use AI in a positive sense, where teachers could save hours of time having AI develop a lesson plan, right? Maybe the 2-3 hours could be saved developing a lesson plan. But if they're using that lesson plan blindly year after year, then you're losing that authenticity of learning, right? So we need to train our teachers to use it as a tool, but then review it. And the extra time that you saved, use it for innovation. Use it to integrate cultural experiences. Use it to integrate experiences for your students that AI cannot do, right? So that's one example of where we're headed towards.
You mentioned teachers, and yet this is one area teachers are changing. The role of teachers are changing, especially for the students, because as we were talking, students today are exposed to a lot of information. What they seek, it's there. And so what do you have to say about that?
Definitely. There's a paradigm shift in the role of teachers. For traditionally, teachers were looked up to as having all the knowledge. Right? We would sit back and listen to our teacher and just, wait for our teacher to tell us, what to do and give us information. That's changed. Many times now, students have more information than the teachers. So the role of teachers has shifted from teaching to facilitating. So teachers are really facilitators of learning now. And the key area here now is information retrieval. How to help students retrieve information from AI, how to analyze the information, and how to evaluate the effectiveness or the use of that information.
How authentic is that information is a concern, isn't
Yes.
it, when they retrieve? For example, when a magazine or a newspaper publishes or a television talks about it, the traditional media as such, there is a lot of screening that goes into it. There is editorship, editorial matters. Still, even if it's opinionated, it's still a fact that would get published. But if the way people are using AI and the freedom to use, they could be feeding any information and AI cannot judge.
Right. So this is one of the areas that really needs to be developed in AI, because AI doesn't have the human emotions.
Yes.
It doesn't have, it basically only can work with what it has. Whereas humans, we basically, we work with what we have, but because of our emotional intelligence, we can assess things and we can, maneuver information in terms of how we perceive it. Whereas AI is limited in that sense. But this is an area also that developers are working on. They're working on
authenticity.
Yes, they're working on this as well.
I think the social media platforms had to go into that first, and they must be learning from that experience too. What would you say is, when we say hallucinates, AI can hallucinate, what are the reasons?
So I'm not really sure of the reasons, but I can explain
What happens?
what it is.
Yes.
Basically, AI, again, it works with information that it has. And then sometimes when it doesn't have all the information, it will create information based on the models of what it has. Right? So, for example, I'll give you an example of something that happened to me. Yeah. I was writing an article, and I wanted more references, additional references to support my article. And so I asked AI to give me a list of articles in a specific topic. And it gave me amazing articles. And I was actually shocked at how did I miss these articles as I was doing my research. And so I started going in to review those articles, and they were non-existent.
Oh my God.
At least 3 out of the 5 that were given to me were non-existent. It just made an article with a beautiful title, with the author, a date, and it referenced it very well. But when I went in, it wasn't there. It was actually not there. And so we need to be careful. And I'm not saying this happens every time, but it could happen. And it did happen to me. And so you need to be careful on whatever information you receive from AI, whatever product you get, double check it. Make sure you double check it.
And for people, like for children who want to use AI, like you said, you can use it for retrieval. But as a human being, as a person, what your idea or originality, there's nothing to beat it.
Exactly.
Right?
Because your originality comes from your experiences, from your relationships, from your culture, from your wisdom. And these are things that AI doesn't have.
But one thing I have in mind, and I think I'll keep it forever from your conversation with you, is that once you use an AI with your article, it's their property. The AI's property.
Well, data privacy is a big concern. Once you enter information, that information then is used by AI for learning. So basically, AI learns from a collective nature. Everyone's information, it combines all of that to generate its knowledge base and increase, and so that's what it's called, a generative process.
That's why it's called artificial intelligence, but we are with it and we have to interact with it.
Yes.
We are in that world, a human intelligence, and then you have artificial intelligence. To conclude, we also had the author, the recent summit here, AI Summit, the author of the book, AI for Humanity.
Yes, Dr. James Ang was here, and we had the privilege of actually having him at our school, at Ahmed bin Majid International School, and he gave a talk to our students about AI for humanity. And really, the keynote address was about concern, about looking forward, how to engage with AI, what are the questions that you should be asking, just similar to the questions that we raised today, and really having awareness about this very strong force that is now part of our lives.
Very good.
Yes.
So that's something we have to remember as well, AI for humanity, because we are all there to use it and will use it one way or the other, but as long as we keep that in mind, we should be safe.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Waheeda, for being here with us.
Thank
I
you.
wish you all the best for the wonderful journey you have ahead of you.
Thank you for this opportunity. Thank you very much.
You've been with Mosaic. We'll be back next time. Until then, take care.